Welcome to the model answer video for certainly the first question of the reproduction and inheritance key assessment. Hopefully you've watched the help me video and you've tried to make corrections. That's the best process. If you watch that, use your notes and try and make your corrections, then in a different colour, then mark it. So it's best not just to write the answers in from the mark scheme, because then you quite often make the same wrong answer again next time. It's best to go through the process of correcting it properly. Okay. Most flowering plants are adapted for pollination by wind or insects. Okay, we know that. Define pollination. So we suggested it was the transfer of something in the male to something in the female. So we just need to get those kind of three things right. So it's the transfer of what? So it's going to be pollination, so it's transfer of the pollen. And then where's it coming from? So it's a male flower, so from the anther. So the male part of the flower, you had a look at the slides and drew those, so you could see the pollen sacs and so on in the anther. So you drew those in your lab books. To the female part of the flower, which is the stigma, which is this up here, to the stigma. Name structure X shown in the diagram. So it's this kind of bag there that's going to have the key cells and nuclei for the female there, and that's the embryo sac. So just a bit of learning there. Draw a line on the diagram to indicate the route of the growth of a pollen tube through the carpel. So this thing's the carpel to structure X. So going to X there, it's going to certainly go to the bottom of it. There's your pollen grain handily put on there. And so this is going to travel down here. It's going to be releasing digestive enzymes. The growth is going to be controlled by the tube nucleus. The generative nucleus, or the nuclei, will be travelling along there as well. This is attracted by chemicals further down. So positively chemotrophic. We are releasing hydrolyzing enzymes, and this tube will grow. It doesn't grow straight down, but it's going to enter through this gap here, this micropyle. So something looking a little bit like that will be where the pollen tube grows. And then we're in structure X. So structure X is this entire thing. It doesn't go to the middle. And then suddenly we're talking about animal reproduction. Why is it suddenly flipped to animal reproduction? Well, it's because it's a similar sort of process where you've got the male going to the male gamete going to the female gamete, and we've got some sort of tube. And what they're trying to get at here is here's the male going to the female gamete, and we've got some sort of tube, and the processes are the same. So these are trying to lead you to that conclusion. Name the part of the reproductive tract in which these events take place. So this egg was released from the ovary, the sperm were released from the penis into the vagina, but where do these actually meet up and we get fertilization? So that's actually in the oviduct or the fallopian tube. So either of those names will do. Or the fallopian tube. And usually it will just be one of the fallopian tubes, because only one only one egg will have been released. Use the information in the diagram. Right, use the information in the diagram. I need to do that. Remember to do that. To explain the role of Y. So Y is this area here. It's not the whole thing. It's not a chemical. It's an area of this sperm. This area here is actually the acrosome, but there's no mark for actually saying acrosome because that's not what it wants. It wants the role of it. Well, let's say what's in it. So Y, or the acrosome, what does it contain? It contains enzymes. So it isn't an enzyme, it contains enzymes. Okay, then we need to say what jobs they do. So this will then contains enzymes that, and you can say all sorts of words here. The best sort of words is the one that kind of tells you the chemistry of what's going on. So hydrolyze. So hydrolyze this area of the female gamete here. So let's tell its name, the zona pellucida. That hydrolyze the zona pellucida, or that jelly coat. We could actually have used other words here. You know, digests is probably the next best. Breakdown, they're getting a bit vague there. So hydrolyze or digest is the best sort of words to use there. And part D, state two similarities between the process visible in the diagram in part C. So that's our part C diagram. And the process by which the male nucleus enters a plant ovule. So this is the ovule there, so this process. So compare this kind of tube thing that's going on with this kind of tube thing that's going on. Okay, that's what it's really wanting. And so it's probably easiest to say, well, we've got some sort of a tube that's being formed. So, or it's growing, or it's being digested. So we can say the formation of a tube, and it's as simple as that. That's a similarity, and we could mention our enzymes again. It's led us to talk about enzymes. Well, we've got enzymes digesting our zona pellucida, and we've got enzymes being released in the growth of this tube here. And they're doing essentially the same role. So we're going to say, enzymes are produced, which digest a path. So I think those are the two most obvious things to say there. Other things you could say, you could tell us what's going to travel in this tube, and the last diagram there shows you the nucleus only of this sperm moving through the tube. So we could say possibly the nuclei travel through the tube. So the nucleus travels through the tube. We could possibly mention the fact that this is directed by chemicals or attracted to chemicals. So chemotrophic, for example. But I think your main two are the fact you've noticed it's a tube in each one, and you've noticed that there's enzymes. And that was certainly what the diagram is, where that's trying to lead you. And so that's 8 marks. I'll join you for the next one very soon.